Here's my actual take on this post from the church after going through so many of the 13,000 comments. I think we might be talking past each other in a pretty big way that's hindering our ability to effectively dialogue about women and priesthood power. The church made this post quoting from the Worldwide Relief Society Devotional where Sister Anette Dennis, the first counselor in the Relief Society Presidency, spoke about women and priesthood power, and she said this. I think the key word we need to focus on here is broadly. The responses to this post have ranged all over the map with a lot of emotion on both poles, positive, negative, everything in between. And a lot of the concerned commenters were saying things like, this is not true because other churches ordain their women to the priesthood, or this isn't true because men make all of the decisions in our church, or this isn't true because I personally don't feel empowered by the church. All of these kinds of assertions might very well be true, but even if so, I don't believe they are accurately representing or responding to Sister Dennis's claim. She is not saying that other churches don't ordain women, nor is she saying that women have never had bad experiences in our church. I think she's making a very specific claim that I personally felt came across very clearly in the context of her full talk. And I think a lot of people might be missing that context in their impulse to be reactive. And certainly this is a sensitive topic for a lot of members, so it can be easy to want to respond and react in combative ways. But I'm inclined to let this woman's full voice be heard and not just the social media sound bites. When Sister Dennis said that power and authority is given so broadly, she's referring to the scale at which women receive power from God in our church in comparison to other faiths. And she qualified this statement by explaining exactly what she means later on in her talk. You can pause if you want to read all of this, and I'm going to link the transcript of her full talk in my Instagram bio and story. But she basically said that there are religions that ordain some women to positions such as priests and pastors, but it's relatively few in comparison to the number of women in their congregation, whereas in our church, all women who make covenants in the temple are endowed with priesthood power directly from God. So what she's not doing, she's not making the claim that women in our church can attain the highest office in the ecclesiastical priesthood. She's not claiming that other churches don't have different hierarchies and structures where women serve in varying roles of the clergy. What she's saying is that while other churches may give ecclesiastical authority to select women, our church gives the actual power of God, the true priesthood, to all women who worthily make sacred covenants, and that's a lot of power. She's not talking about social structuring of power or dominion over other people. She's talking about honest to goodness might of an all-powerful God who has command over the elements, the spirits, healing, even death itself. And in the temple, we learn that it's this kind of priesthood, the patriarchal order of the priesthood, that leads to exaltation and glory, not necessarily the organizational or ecclesiastical order of the priesthood. And God invests this kind of power and authority into his covenant children, both his sons and his daughters. I think it is beautiful, and I agree with Sister Dennis that it is vast in scale. But women's priesthood power also has implications for the organizational functioning of the church. Because our church has a lay clergy, and all of the functions of our church are run by volunteer members of the congregation, and the whole congregation participates, not just a select few, all women in the church more broadly and more regularly preach Sunday sermons, publicly pray, hold leadership positions, and perform ordinances in the context of the temple. Again, she's not comparing the social structuring of women's power to men's power in this context. She's comparing the godly authority women have in our church at a large scale to other religious organizations. I know a lot of women who have had difficult experiences in their church service, so this can be a sensitive topic. People are entitled to feel the pain of those experiences, and we should still be having these important conversations. But I would like to hope that we can at least recognize what Sister Dennis was trying to communicate so that we're not talking past each other. If you want to study the text of the whole talk, I'm going to be putting the link in my Instagram story and bio.